Our pain isn't a bug, it's a feature. Now, most folks know about the loneliness epidemic going on in our society, the fragmenting of our social fabric. But here's the thing, that is not just a random accident that just happened. It's a predictable outcome of the doctrines of late-stage capitalism that we've been exploring. Same thing with our exhaustion or the disconnection that's going on around us. These aren't personal failures as much as they are the system that we work and live in and it doing to us what it does. Now, to state the obvious, the way things are going, this is not good for us, not a great state of affairs. So I read an article recently, good news, bad news. The good news is, worldwide, more people report that they are thriving. Fewer people report that they are suffering, the lowest level in 20 years. The bad news is, not us. Not Canada, not the United States, not Western Europe, not Australia, not New Zealand. None of the countries that have the highest standards of living report thriving more than they have in the past. 67% of Americans reported thriving in 2007, 49% now. Nations with the highest standards of living have had the steepest declines in their sense of well-being. And the economic numbers are good. GDP growth is good, wages, unemployment are good, and yet suicide rates are up. Social isolation is up. Social trust and optimism way down. Only a third of Americans are optimistic about the next generation. In a recent Times Siena poll, 2/3 of Americans don't believe that we will be able to overcome our divisions and solve our problems. So, how does this bear on our project, Reimagining Spiritual Community? Well, let's start here. The places that are flourishing have two things going on. They have a good enough standard of living, and they have strong community attachments. If a society is doing well in all three, materially and socially and spiritually, Poland, for example, they are thriving. Even those that have weaker economies but still have strong social and spiritual bonds, like Indonesia, the Philippines, thriving, flourishing. But weak in social attachment, weak in shared meaning and purpose, it doesn't matter if your economy is booming. And young people are suffering the most. There used to be a U-curve of happiness, high happiness at youth, a dip during midlife because, all that responsibility, and then a rebound later as we get older. But the trend has changed, driven primarily by a significant decline in the well-being of young people. And mostly that happens in high standard of living countries. It's correlated with, I suspect caused by, weaker community ties, fragmented communities, an environment of distrust. Now, that's familiar territory for a lot of folks, but what we need to see so that we can begin working on the reverse of this damage is how the underlying doctrines of late-stage capitalism have shaped these troubles that we are all facing. Here's one of late-stage capitalism's most revered doctrines. The chief end of human beings is to consume, to buy. Now, we wouldn't say that out loud. We know that humans are more than that, but consider this. People who go to work to drive consuming get paid well. People who go to work to drive human well-being do not. Think about elder care, child care, education, nonprofit workers, family services. Under the influence of the doctrine, the chief end of human beings is to consume. Consuming now makes up 70% of our economy. Consuming keeps everybody employed so they, in turn, can keep consuming. So, all the psychological and emotional manipulation we talked about last time, our identities defined by stuff that we pay, it all serves that core doctrine. The chief end of the human being is to consume. Here's another doctrine. The highest good that drives the best outcomes is competing, not cooperating. Now, again, part of us knows that's not the whole picture, but it is how we live together. People who go to work to compete are paid well. People who go to work to cooperate, not paid well. Think humanitarian relief or public health or social workers. But if we look around, it's quite possible that the human being's highest good is not outdoing one another, but building together. Here's a third doctrine. The highest good is to dominate. Dominate nature. strip it, burn it, bend it to our will, dominate competitors, crush them, outpace them, take their share, dominate other people, climb the ladder, get to the top. Now, of course, we know that is not the truest truth. Human greatness isn't about domination. But again, dominators are rewarded in the system, exploit the earth, get paid well. Dominate markets, get celebrated. Dominate others, get promoted. Those who care for nature, on the other hand, collaborate with others, lift other people up, often ignored, underpaid, sidelined. The doctrines were once tools that served a function. Competing served a function, as did winning, as did consuming. But once tools become doctrines, they become unquestioned and they become unquestionable. There they sit deep inside of us, usually unseen, usually unquestioned, driving our society's many troubles. Because again, it's not that we live in late-stage capitalism, it's that late-stage capitalism lives in us. Doctrines, potent forces informing how we live, what we choose, what we ignore, what we value, what we devalue, and they're killing us, and most of the time we don't even see them inside us. And this is the territory of spiritual community, to discern the values that drive human well-being and build communities that help folks integrate those values into our lives. But we can't do that until we know what those unspoken, unseen doctrines are, until we name them. So let's talk about that shift that we saw in the last episode happen in the mid-20th century, going from one organizing economic principle, find a need, meet it better, to another one, create a problem, then sell a fix, or invent an itch and then sell the scratch. Again, we saw 70% of our economy depends on that, on us trying to scratch itches that somebody else manufactures, trying to solve problems that somebody else manufactures, which means 70% of our economy depends on most of us feeling some unresolved problem, feeling some unmet need, feeling some unscratched itch. That's a problem for human well-being. Our economy thrives to the extent that we feel that manufactured sense of inadequacy, that manufactured sense of dissatisfaction or unfulfillment. It is not a bug. It is a feature of the system. It is the doctrines of late-stage capitalism doing what they do. And we are immersed in a constant drumbeat of be dissatisfied with your life, feel inadequate, yearn for something that you don't have, believe that you are not enough, that you are not smart enough or beautiful enough or successful enough or happy enough. And by the way, fix all those bad feelings, buy our thing. So again, calling late-stage capitalism capitalism is a misnomer. It's a fundamentally different organizing principle. It's a manufactured system of perpetual dissatisfaction designed to create constant demand by hijacking our deep human needs and eroding our human well-being. It's a constant, though unacknowledged, drumbeat of you are inadequate and you must buy this thing. Consequently, products that we buy are only a means to a feeling end. Products exist to help us manage the very definition of self. Human individuality is a product that can be purchased. Buy this and you will feel special, unique. Human authenticity is a product that can be purchased. Buy this and we will know who you really are. Now, name it that baldly, we can see that is not sustainable. That's not sustainable for the planet, not for individuals, not for communities, and especially not for spiritual communities. But we are in it. We just are influenced every day unconsciously by these doctrines. And those of us endeavoring to rebuild spiritual communities, we have an opportunity in this moment to develop the antidote to this venomous toxin. We have the opportunity to recover a way of being that is rooted in a different set of doctrines, built on different assumptions. Being human is a spiritual, not an economic enterprise. Feeling fulfilled is a spiritual, not an economic enterprise. Belonging is a communal, not an economic enterprise. Status arises through human relationships, not purchases. And helping one another shift from those doctrines to a different set of doctrines, that is the purpose of spiritual community. Now, I know it doesn't happen in our spiritual communities. It hasn't for some time. But that's what spiritual communities are for. So, we undertake this endeavor to rebuild our broken spiritual communities, and that is why. We stand at a crossroads right now. We can keep inhaling the doctrines of late-stage capitalism, consume to show who we are, prop ourselves up with externals, earn our belonging. We can do that, and we will watch as our well-being continues to collapse. Or we can undertake the work of rebuilding our spiritual communities, communities that reclaim human being. Now, in the next episode, let's talk about the parable of the commons and how they've disappeared and how we can rebuild them. If you'd like to get notified when that goes live, go ahead, you can subscribe.